Women, what are some questions you've always wanted to ask men, but were too embarrassed? When you use the toilet, does your weenie just hang into the toilet? Do you rest it on the seat? Do you ever get poop splash on your ween? It hangs. Sometimes the splash hits the balls. Poseidon's kiss they call it. When your tip touches the toilet bowl rim, it's called the witch's kiss. Do you ever worry about what your friends think of the attractiveness of your girlfriend, wife? Like, are you ever worried that people you know don't find her good looking or judge you for being with her? This question is obviously coming straight from my insecurities. I actually did have this fear with my last girlfriend. She was a bigger girl and I wasn't really concerned about what they thought, but just didn't want anyone being judgmental toward her. It's hard to explain. I wasn't ashamed of her or anything, just hate the thought of people judging her by her appearance.
Can you feel our boobs when we hug? Depends on the size, but yeah, for the most part, we can.
People who cater to the super rich, what things have you seen? I went to a New England prep school for high school on a full-ride sports scholarship. There were a decent amount of foreign national students, mainly from Asia, that came from extremely wealthy families. One of those students' parents bought him a brand new BMW 5 Series, fully loaded, when he got his license our junior year. When we graduated a year later, he was going back to Korea and obviously couldn't take the car, so he gave it to his best friend. Kid got an $80,000 car at 17 years old, just for being good friends with the right guy. I'll never forget that. Was a boyfriend of a girl from an obscenely rich family. The sister used to have the nanny, who was sleeping with the husband, but that's another story. Flight to Paris in their G550 to buy the newest Hermes bag so she could show it off a few days before it went on sale in the US. My dad's client bought a whole block of houses to build theirs. It is so wide that they installed a moving walkway like the ones at airports. A friend from high school worked a few years as a deckhand on yachts in the Mediterranean, and he said he once jumped in to get a customer's bag and got tipped 4,000 euros. He also observed actual bricks of coke brought onto P. Diddy's yacht. A friend did some work on Sylvester Stallone's home. Apparently there's a ton of statues and art of himself, some of which are naked and very well endowed. A woman who owned a small private jet business told me one time someone paid them to fly their dog, by itself, to NY for about $45,000 for some training. No other passengers. Keith Urban tipped me $7 on a $4 shake and left the keys to his Bentley at the store, but he came back and got them. Was invited to Christmas dinner while I lived in Seoul by an extremely wealthy Korean family. Very nice family, but I think in hindsight they wanted to show their friends that they had foreign friends like me. Wife had everything catered and the home professionally decorated. It felt like we were in a department store. Multiple Christmas trees, a working train set, staff handing out appetizers on plates, etc. It looked like she studied Christmas movies from the USA and copied everything. Dinner is served on a comically long table with 2 huge oven-roasted turkeys and all of the trimmings. They look perfect. I was later told that Koreans don't like turkey and were just for decoration. They would be thrown out later. We ate Korean food. The family said I could take a turkey home and that the caterer would drop it off with anything else I wanted. As a Korean, I've never heard anything more Korean, when it comes to the richest of them anyway. The gap between working class and those turkey-wasting kinds is astoundingly huge. Make-A-Wish employees, what was the most strangest thing a Make-A-Wish kid asked for and actually received? I shot an internal promotional video for Make-A-Wish once. I got to read through a big book of wishes they had granted. Some of them were so extravagant and amazing. Family vacations, celebrity meetings. And then I saw a 3-year-old who wished for a banana split for breakfast. And that's what they gave him. No one was like, wish higher. There was a Make-A-Wish kid in a class I taught once and their wish was to tour a pickle factory. Pickles were their all-time favorite food and they wanted to see how the sausage was made, so to speak. Apparently Vlasic rose to the occasion in a major way and she had the time of her life. I know someone who was granted a wish. Of all things they could choose, they asked for 2 tiny birds, 2 budgies. I was a chef at a fancy steakhouse in Jacksonville, Florida. One day my proprietor came to me and said, "This is Stacy, the new girl, she'll be training with you." I look over and it's this adorable little girl in bright pink chef coat. I babysat my little cousins at the time, so I was actually pretty used to entertaining 10-year-old girls at the time. So I showed her the ropes. We made all kinds of stuff that were on the surface kind of random. Candied bacon, cornbread, prosciutto wrap, boursin cheese, stuffed asparagus, a sweet tea brined pork chop, a sorrel garnish salad type thing, and some other cool garnishes. We were having fun. I then made a puree out of the cornbread, let her plate up the dish a few different ways to show how you can play with ingredients and hide to showcase different parts of the dish. She had a blast. It was only at the end when the father came up to me in tears that I realized what was going on. In the moment I was a little upset because nobody told me, but I realized after it was for the best. I probably would not have been as bright and vibrant with the lessons had I have known. but it was a fulfilling experience for sure. I hope their family is doing well. Side note, I have reworked and reran the dishes a special a few times in memory of that day. It was that impactful. I'm a more volunteer. The volunteers get to do all the fun stuff, like meet with the families, get the kids excited about their wish, we send little gifts and stuff along the way, and then be there when the wish is granted. We don't have to do any of the boring admin stuff. I have a little girl right now whose original wish was a unicorn, 6YO with severe epilepsy, has like 15 seizures a day and has been through like 10 surgeries already. She wasn't having any of that fake stuff, like a stuffed animal or a costume. She insisted for weeks on a unicorn. That one was hard to manage. She's getting a cat. Wasn't weird or anything, but one of my friends had leukemia in 8th grade and her wish was to meet Adam Sandler. So she got to spend the day on set of The Longest Yard with him. I used to know a dude who got sick in high school, and his wish was to see Rocksteady Studios and be in one of their games. The studio was super cool, evidently, and they put him in Arkham Knight as a GCPD officer. Best part of the story is that he recovered and, last I heard, is still doing okay to this day. What has no reason to exist in 2021 and yet it does. Taking 3 to 5 days to put money back into my account after you took it instantly. It takes time to process, also known as sit in their account with millions of other dollars and accrue daily interest. Mailin rebates. In the age of digital everything, it's ridiculous that these things are still around. I think it's to make it harder for people to actually get the rebate, but they can't advertise the lower price of the item. There's a form, you need the receipt, have to get a stamp, envelope, and an expiration date that it's easy to miss. Then the company gets to not pay out. But yeah, it's BS. I work for USPS. Went to request a day off and the form required carbon paper to copy. No amount of technology will cure government agencies of unnecessary red tape. Ticket, muster, ticket processing fees. Seriously, do these have any function other than making money for some middleman? Convenience fees being applied when you pay a bill online. It's bullshit when apartments do it. We don't accept any payments in office. You must pay online through our app or website. Convenience fee of $3.00 to pay. Having to call to make bill payments. Paying $4.99 delivery fee to the pizza place, and they say delivery fee is not a tip for the driver. The drivers use their own cars and pay for their own gas, and they sure as hell aren't getting any of that $5. What's crazy is that pizza delivery was one of the original delivery services and we used to never pay a fee. It was just the cost of the food plus the tip. But now there's a delivery fee plus service fee plus driver tip. F that shit. Unpaid overtime. Tax software in the US. Seriously, should just be a simple form on the internet that takes 5 minutes. Gas cans that seem deliberately designed to not work and that spill gasoline everywhere. The ones that have the nozzles with the safety release thing that pushes down are effing useless. The fact that some people still don't have access to fresh water. Having to call to cancel a subscription you sign up for online. Edit. Thanks for the awards and such, guys. I think the general consensus here is that the gym and the New York Times need to feck off lol. Having no idea how much you'll pay for a minor medical procedure. Low quality surveillance footage. It wouldn't be a problem if we could just zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, stop, enhance, enhance, we got him IRL. Chefs of Reddit, what's one rule of cooking amateurs need to know? When you take something out of the oven, a pot, pan, skillet, sheet, tray, whatever, drape a towel or oven mitt over the handle edge of it. That way you or anyone else understands that it's hot and not to be grabbed bare-handed. From a home cook who has grabbed handles in excess of 400 degrees literally 30 seconds after taking them out of the oven, more than once. Late AF, but you're just going to enjoy cooking more if you have a sharp knife. No clue how people can hack away at veggies and meat. No reason to go insane either. A $30 Victorinox and $5 sharpener will get you a very long way. Please taste what you're cooking before serving it. Smell is very similar to taste, and if you're not sure about combining various spices, open the bottles and smell them all together. Salt, pepper and acid will brighten up almost any dish. If an otherwise wonderful dish is just missing something, add salt, pepper and lemon juice, then reassess. There's a book called Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat that comes highly recommended to amateur cooks. Reading even just the first chapter about salt made a lot of food I cooked immediately better, because I finally understood salt wasn't just that thing that sat on the dinner table that you applied after the meal was cooked. Salt is important for sweets. A batch of cookies without that little hint of salt doesn't taste quite right. My husband's aunt doesn't put salt in her baking and it always tastes so flat and bland. She doesn't believe salt belongs in sweets because that's for cooking, her words. This woman also has white carpet throughout her kitchen, so she really lacks taste. Carpet in her kitchen? That's more than just bad taste. That's an abomination. One step below carpet in the bathroom. and just above grouted tile countertops. What really makes no sense? Insurance. My doctor says I need this procedure. I ask my insurance if it's covered. They say no, it's not needed. I tell them a medical doctor told me I need this. They said in their opinion I don't. I ask if they are a medical doctor. They say no. And there are people out there who defend this. The Weather Channel website's 10-day weather forecast shows the weather forecast for 15 days. I know in the grand scheme of things, it's completely unimportant, but it bugs me a lot. Why Colonel is pronounced Colonel? A random video with political implications gets 10,000 views, and suddenly it's being quoted by all major media companies as proof of how serious things have become. Needing 5 or more years of experience for an entry-level job or 20 years of experience for 5-year-old software. Asking about pay and stuff related when applying, interviewing for a job, and how it's looked down on to do that. Like the most fundamental purpose of this job is to be paid money. How political corruption is recognized but never punished. That's because they run everything. We have investigated ourselves and determined that we did nothing wrong. The minor infractions we uncovered have been handled with a small fine, and we are sure nothing like this will ever happen again. It's a shame we got caught. It's a shame this happened. Sending your CV and filling in the exact details on their application page. I've actually finally seen one online application where you could either attach your CV or fill in the info, not both. It was so fast. How some cartoon characters wear a shirt, but no pants. Then their colleagues wear nothing at all. Pick a side. What is the weirdest thing you find extremely attractive? My husband can do an incredible impersonation of a gorilla. Knuckles on the ground, but sticking out, huffing noise, the whole deal. Wouldn't you know that has gotten me into bed more times than I would care to admit it. I want to say it's mostly because he makes me laugh so much, but damn, sometimes I see a gorilla and I'm like, wow, he's pretty handsome. Edit. I'm so effing proud that this is my top comment. Thanks for the awards. Also, I think some of you are taking me way too seriously about finding actual gorillas attractive. When they go all the way dressing up. Not in the fancy way, but in the oh there's a theme and I'm not shy to go all the way with my costume. Shows confidence and a great fun factor. Some impurities in the face like freckles or random black dots. My boyfriend has this one black dot directly below his eye in the middle of his left cheek. It makes him infinitely more valuable on the face market to me. Looks so darn adorable. Recently I've been working out more. My wife says the veins popping out of my arms and hands get her all hot and bothered for some reason. Either way, it feels good when she touches them. The idea that in this microwave-ready, Instagram-perfect world, that there are people, like all of you in this thread, that appreciate the imperfections in people and make them sound like the most attractive features ever. Edit. Thanks you guys. This is probably my most favorite thread ever. There is so much appreciation and positivity being spread here. I will always keep this in mind when I don't feel quite my best. An introvert's wet dream is this thread. Thank you guys. People who can ramble on about their passions for hours. I love listening to people talk about the stuff they love. My husband got himself the spare onesie. The first time he put it on I was like, what is this feeling? Why am I aroused right now? After a few occasions of him wearing it I was like, well I guess I'm a borderline furry, although I think it's the snuggly softness that does it for me rather than anything animalistic. He still thinks it's very weird, but he will put it on for me when I ask. Too bad for him, our anniversary is in the height of summer. Edit. Onesies are widely available, so I don't really understand why so many people are asking where he got it. I mean they're literally everywhere, and it's not like his is special. It's not a magical onesie, it's just a normal, fluffy onesie with a hood and bare ears. It's also not one of those loose ones. I like the way it hugs his butt, but he bought his in Next, a basic high street shop in the UK. That was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, though, but you could definitely get one on Amazon. What single human has done the most damage to the progression of humanity in the history of mankind? Guy de Chauliac. He was a surgeon in the 1300s who vehemently spoke out against another fellow surgeon, Theodoric Borgognoni. Theodoric was a surgeon who wrote about his theories on proper wound care and believed that the best thing you can do to a wound is wrap it and keep it clean. Guy hated what Theodoric was writing because it directly went against the teachings of Galen, an ancient Greek surgeon who believed pus was the body's way of balancing your humors. Guy's teachings were widely accepted, and it's believed that his ignorance set the development of antisepsis in surgery back about 600 years. Edit. Guy de Chauliac was born in the 1300s, not 1200s, as he was alive during the Black Death. Ignaz Semmelweis was the guy who was thrown into a mental asylum for saying surgeons should wash their hands between seeing patients. There's an awesome podcast called Behind the Bastards that is basically all about deconstructing the worst people in history. Would recommend it to anyone interested in this thread. The Ottoman caliphs who banned the printing press in the Muslim world. That's exactly how you destroy a civilization. The Mongolians, army of Hulagu, when they destroyed Baghdad's libraries that contained many of the past knowledge that set back humanity years. That stupid fish that decided to leave water. Edward Bernays. He created modern-day PR, which set the blueprint on how to control the masses by deception. He was Sigmund Freud's nephew and basically applied his theories to marketing. What terrible product sells by the millions? Any product where marketing is 95% of the production budget. Diet shakes, pills, teas, etc. Pay-to-win games. I got sucked into state of survival not knowing what pay-to-win even was. Been playing for over a year and dumped money into fake stats. It can easily become an addiction. Lesson learned. Never again. I'd give you an award but I spent all my money on plasma. Wildly overpriced microtransactions in video games. It's genuinely absurd. $25 for a little outfit for your character in a first-person shooter where you do not see your little outfit is a perfect example. My data. I saw you were thinking about Toast today. Here's 10 ads on Toast. NBA 2K franchise just keeps getting progressively worse. More ads, more incentives to spend money, gameplay barely changes. There's an old IT joke about being in a room with 3 truly despicable people and a printer and a gun with 2 bullets. Who would you shoot? The answer for IT people is you would shoot the printer twice. Printer ink cartridges. I hate the printers that refuse to print a black and white page just because it's out of yellow ink. Printers. They all act different and there's always something wrong. LOL surprise toys or any such surprise toy. They sell like crazy and the whole idea is to buy them, open the wrapper and see what you have got. Once opened the toy, JS never used. Premium, bottled water. Shitty pencils. They're cheaper so it's what all the parents buy at back to school time, but they're so bad. They break too easily. They can't be sharpened because the lead falls out or isn't centered. They ruin good sharpeners. Erasers either don't work or disintegrate instantly. Get Ticonderoga or Staedtler. One pencil of either of these is worth 20 of the no names. Alienware computers. They used to be genuinely top-of-the-line gaming machines, expensive but well-balanced and good bang for your buck. Then Dell bought them and ran the product line into the ground, stuffing them with way too much RAM and way too little everything else but keeping the premium price. The brand still has enough cultural momentum among teenage gamers, however, that they still sell despite the terrible price point. This should go without saying, but coffee pod, Zeta Cheers, strangers, women's pants trousers which still have tiny pockets, cigarettes. I know they say that people often die from smoking, but my uncle smoked and he only died once. Microtransactions in games. The cosmetic ones I can't understand. They can be fun, but the pay-to-win ones are terrible and yet they make millions every year. What outdated slang do you still use? I'm a big fan of bonkers. I also heard bananas. Nifty. Lately I've been describing things as whack. His hair, whack. His jewelry, whack. The way that he doesn't even like to smile, whack. Dope. Rad. Sweet. Any of those still in use? I'm not one of the kids anymore, don't know if these are outdated yet. I heard home slice once around 1997 and it's still a part of my daily vocabulary. My wife and I call each other home fry, home skillet and home nugget. I have no idea why. We don't say home slice though and I think that's the OG. Is OG dated? No, it's totally tubular. Cylindrical vocab brock. If you like these entries, please do like and consider subscribing to us and hit that bell notification icon. And we'll see you in the next one.